SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we've got an update out of T-Mobile. This is going to be impacting their network. There are so many different outcomes with this. Now, at this moment in time, none of this is 100% confirmed, but it's coming from financial analysts who are very often in the know. So I wouldn't call this official, but I would call it very likely to happen in the future. T-Mobile's got the potential to maybe have a new deal with Samsung. I'm going to give you guys that update. The story is from Dano. Light reading. Link will be in the description. Also in the description is the Real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. If you want to support your creators directly, that's one way you could do it. Also in the description is our Mint Mobile partner link. Folks, our partner Mint Mobile. Use the link in the description. You'll save money. They just increased the data allotments on their plans, and they didn't even change the pricing. All types of great value. They're legendary customer care. Use our partner link. Save that money, and you'll be helping out the channel in the process. All right, so T-Mobile is being rumored to potentially putting together a deal with Samsung Electronics. All right, now the source of this is financial analysts at Raymond James, so take it what it's worth. If it happens, when it happens, whatever. But the speculation is that Samsung would be getting involved with T-Mobile. We heard rumblings about this last year. Nothing came of it. Maybe those rumblings are just now starting to get a little bit louder. All right, now up to this point, the two major 5G network vendors that T-Mobile has been using has been Ericsson and Nokia. To give you guys an example, my market, the Cleveland market, utilizes, and I'm not sure if it's just the market or the state, but it utilizes Nokia for T-Mobile. All right, AT&T also uses Nokia here. Verizon is the one network that uses Samsung for the radio gear in my market. In other places, T-Mobile uses Ericsson. Verizon and AT&T also use Ericsson. They've been the big two for so long, but now with Samsung coming in the fold, Verizon getting that deal with Samsung puts Samsung on the map. Now, the play here is, what is this going to do to the network? Or what is this going to do for T-Mobile? Is this good? Is this bad? Now, I will tell you that I truly believe, in my personal experience of testing Verizon with Samsung radio gear here in my market versus AT&T using Nokia radio gear for N77, the mid-band 5G frequencies, I've seen Samsung as being superior. I feel it's been better range. I feel it's been better propagation characteristics and qualities. In my opinion, it's just performed better. And maybe that's what T-Mobile is seeing. Maybe they're seeing the potential as Samsung has stepped their game up and they are, adequately able to take some business away from Nokia. Now, you can't just have one vendor, right? Number one, you got a supply issue. Number two, you can't bargain and negotiate deals when you only use one vendor. You can't pin the others against each other. Okay, so they have to have multiple vendors for those reasons. All right. Now, something else I want to point out, besides the performance, besides the negotiation tactics, those are probably the big two. But I will say this. Sprint of old, right before they did the merger with T-Mobile, they were deploying radio gear from all the carriers, just like Verizon was and all that. They were launching their 5G network. They did so in 9 markets. Ericsson supplied the radio gear in Dallas, Atlanta, Houston, and Kansas City. Nokia provided the radio gear for Los Angeles and New York City as well. And then I think also Phoenix and Washington. And then Samsung was the supplier for Sprint's 5G network build in Chicago. And then, of course, it was all dismantled and T-Mobile did their own thing. Now, the reason I say this is we just got an update from T-Mobile that they are doing some changing of faces for the networking side. Neville Ray is retiring. John Saw steps in. Ulf Ewaldson steps in. John Saw is from Sprint. That may have something to do with this. Maybe John Saw is more of a believer in maybe doing some work with Samsung. Maybe Ewaldson does as well. Now, Ewaldson, I believe, is a former Ericsson executive. John Saw from the Sprint side, who previously has, has history with Samsung gear. My market was actually a Samsung market. When I go to see when I went to go to the sites when they were being upgraded, the old Sprint Keep sites, that was Samsung gear being taken down and being replaced with Nokia. So this is an interesting situation. Now, I do hear that Samsung is the leader when it comes to O-RAN. That may have something to do with it. And T-Mobile wants to put themselves in the position to be able to compete with that type of technology under their kind of portfolio of tools. So Verizon with Samsung. I've heard of AT&T having a deal with Samsung too, but we don't see any radio gear out in the wild. So I don't know. But here's my take on it, right? I think this deal is probably number one, most likely a play on negotiating of prices, right? T-Mobile doing their best to keep CapEx down, right? Trying to manage the best deals. I think number two is performance, right? Nokia leaves a lot to be desired in my experience. I will tell you that the weakest performers on mid-band 5G here when it comes to distance, range, indoor propagation, throughput capacity, the efficiency of the spectrum to the speeds, I think Samsung's been the best here in my market. We don't have Ericsson. Nokia has been second place. Maybe that's part of it too. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think of this development. What do you think caused the potential switch to Samsung in the future? What is your experience with the radio gear? Are you in an Ericsson market, a Nokia market, a Samsung market? Which carrier? How is it performing? Do you think that has a piece to do with this with respect to T-Mobile making the switch potentially? Sound off in the comment section below. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.